Hey guys, thank you so much for joining me for today's at-home lower body burner workout. In today's Pilates routine, we're going to be sculpting our calves, thighs, building tone, definition, and muscle, strengthening our hips, and lifting, shaping, and sculpting our glutes. I'm going to be using a small set of hand weights, a set of 5-pound hand weights, and an optional set of ankle weights. If you're doing this as part of my challenge in week 3, you might want to opt for a heavier set of weights. This workout does include a warm-up and a cool-down, so let's get ready to sculpt together. We're going to start off with our warm-up. So we're going to stand with our feet hip distance apart. Core is engaged, gentle bend in the knees. The neck is long, the shoulders are down, and the chin is parallel with the floor. Grow up really nice and tall through the crown of your head, setting up for great posture. We're going to begin with some shoulder rolls. So we're going to lift our shoulders up by our ears and roll them down and back. Inhale, lift those shoulders up, and exhale, roll them down and back. So as you roll those shoulders back, I want you to focus on opening through your chest and gently activating those upper back muscles. And getting into that Pilates breath. Breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth for 3. Set those shoulders back for 2. Shrugging away tension. And last 1, roll those shoulders back and keep the hands by the sides. Nicely done. Now from here, you can keep your hands by your sides or you can put them on your hips. I'm going to lift my right knee and lower. Lift the right knee and lower. So stabilizing through your left side, really lifting that knee up toward the chest and lowering down. Amazing work. Now we're going to circle that knee out and tap the toe down to the mat. Circle out and tap the toe. So we're lubricating the hip joint here. Good. For 3, lengthen through the leg, and 2, get that knee up and over, and last 1, nicely done. Bring the foot back to parallel with the other. Now moving over to the left side, driving left knee up and lowering it, maintaining your balance as you do so. Good. Drive that knee up for 2. And last 1, nicely done. Now circling that knee and stepping out over to the left. Circling out to the side, good, mobilizing the hip joint. Amazing work. Last 2. And final 1, amazing. Now take your stance about shoulder distance apart and just roll out the hips together. Circling the hips in one direction. Pushing those hips forward, pushing them out to the side and sending those hips out behind you. Reverse directions, bend into the knees, keep the shoulders down away from the ears. And just work through any stiff areas in the hips. Good. Last 1 and back to center. Nicely done. Now from here, taking the stance about hip distance or shoulder distance, if that's more comfortable for you. Feet are parallel. We're going to come up onto the toes and then lower down. Lift up onto the toes and lower down. As you lift up, I want you to really focus on balance and core stability. Breathe out to lift and engage your core as you do so. Good. It'll help with your balance. Waking up the calf muscles. Working that posture, working that core engagement. Nicely done for 2 and 1. Now from here, we're going to take the stance a little bit wider. We're going to lower down into a squat and lift. Lower and lift. So I want you to really send your hips out behind you. Keep the torso upright and squeeze the thighs, squeeze the glutes as you lift it up. Good. Inhale to lower, exhale to lift. Drawing your navel in toward your spine as you drive up. Squeezing thighs. Good. We've got 4. Lift with those glutes for 3, 2, and 1. Now we're going to combine the heel lift and the squat. So we're lowering and lifting. Lowering into the squat and lifting up onto those toes. Good. lower, and breathe out to lift. Nice tight core. Let's go 3 and 2 and 1, and soften heels down to the mat. Nicely done. Now we're going to take the stance really nice and wide and turn the toes out. Regulating the breath here, breathing in through the nose to lower and out through the mouth to lift. Lowering and lifting. Lowering and driving up through the heels. Start driving up through the heels as soon as you start to straighten those legs, activating the thighs, the glutes. Keep those shoulders down away from your ears. And tighten the waistline as you come up. Now we're going to add a pulse, 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 and lift. Double pulse, 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 and drive up through the heels. Good. Keep those knees turning out. You're doing great for 4. Getting a good warm up in before we hit the mat. 2, and final 1. Amazing work. Now I'm going to turn to the front of my mat and we're going to go into some narrow squat pulses. So our legs are about hip distance apart. Shoulders are down away from the ears, keeping the torso upright. We're going to lower a couple inches, just a shallow squat, and just start pulsing here. Little pulses. Have a look at those knees. Make sure they're tracking in alignment with your ankles and your hips. They're not splaying out to the side or knocking in. Let's take it an inch lower. Send those hips out behind you. Pulsing here, feeling it in those thighs, feeling it in the glutes. Little lower. Tighten the core. Lengthen through the spine. You can do it. Little lower. Keep breathing. Warming up those lower body muscles, firing them up. Little lower. Keep that spine long. Try not to arch in the low back. Little lower for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Amazing. Come forward so that you're facing me. We're going to just take a moment here in yogi pose to push the knees outward and to really open up in the hips here. Keep taking a couple of deep breaths, breathing deeply in through the nose and out through the mouth. Lengthening through the spine. You can stay stationary or gently rock from side to side. For 3 and 2 and 1. Nicely done. Now I'm going to come down onto the mat, and from here I'm going to put on my ankle weights. Again, like I said, these are optional. If you haven't got ankle weights, but you still want to add the resistance to these moves, I'll show you what you can do with your weights, your hand weights. So strapping on the ankle weights, coming down onto the side body. I'm going to get nice and long and comfortable on my side body. So propping the head up on the hand or an outstretched arm. I'm going to lengthen through the legs, pick the legs up and hinge them forward, coming in to a bit of a pike position. Then I'm going to bend the knees and bring the feet a little bit closer toward the bum, keeping those hips stacked, knees stacked, and ankles stacked. Now, for all of these side lying exercises, like I said, if you haven't got ankle weights, but you've got a weight and you want to step up the intensity, just hold the weight or 2 weights on the outside of your thigh. Otherwise, body weight resistance, you're still going to feel this one too. Okay, we're going to lift up just the lower part of that top leg. And from here, we're going to tap the toes together and then tap the knees together. Tap the toes, tap the knees, tap the toes, tap the knees, all the while keeping that top hip stacked on top of the lower hip. Good, let's go 10. Drawing a little arc in the air with that knee. It's a small range of movement. 8, relax your shoulders. Good, for 7. Really pick that knee up. 5, tighten the core, lengthen through the neck. For 3, good. And last one, amazing work. Now keep that lower leg elevated. From here, we're going to tap and extend. So tap the knees and extend the leg long. Tap and extend, really point hard through the toes here. Let's go 10, lengthen, squeezing the outer thigh, squeezing the calf muscles, good, and working that side booty and hip area, good. Try not to let your shoulders creep up by your ears. Let's go 3, and 2, and final 1, good. Now from here, we're tapping, extending, lowering, and lifting. Tap, extend, lower, and lift. Good, we're going for 10 of these. Amazing work. Lower, so you're lowering on a diagonal. Good, and then lifting and repeating. Let's go 4, 3, keep lengthening through your neck. For 2, nicely done, and final 1, tap and lift, hold it here. I know it's already burning, but we're gonna pulse up for 10, 9, 8, lengthen through that leg, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Soften the top leg down. Oh my goodness, we're already working so hard. I really felt it. I'm sure even without the ankle weights, it was challenging. We're now gonna target our inner thigh. So you can make a bridge with that top leg either in front or behind. Whatever's more comfortable for you, just make sure that lower leg has space to has space to move. We're going to lift the lower leg with a flexed foot. So I want you, if you can, slightly turn your toes down toward the mat. We're gonna lift and lower. Squeeze the thigh to lift. Squeeze that inner thigh, lead up with the heel. 3, 4, lengthen out through that heel. Good work. And last one. Now we're gonna point the toe and hover, lift. Hover, lift. Squeeze the inner thigh with every lift. Last 5. Relax those shoulders. 4, lift a bit higher. 3, 2, and 1. Relax it down for a moment. So from here, we're gonna do the pointed toe lifts, but we're going to do 3 pulses up. So hover the foot above the mat. It looks like this. 1, 2, 3. Lower down. Lift a little higher, and lower. Good. Lift, 2, 3, and lower. Lift, 2, 3, and lower. Good work. Lift, 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 and lower. Just hover. 1, 2, 3, lower down. 1, 2, 3, lower down. Lift a little higher, squeeze those thighs. 1, 2, 3, and last set. 1, 2, 3. Hold at the top of the lift. I know it's hard. 10, 9 pulses. 8, 7, 6. Burning out those inner thighs. 2 and 1, relax it down. Amazing work on that side. We're now gonna switch over to the other side. So getting nice and comfortable down on the mat. Breathing deeply. We're going to lift those legs up and pike slightly forward. I'm gonna push those weights out of my way. From that lengthened position, we've got the neck nice and long, head is supported, hand is down on the mat, and then we're gonna bend those legs, bringing the heels toward the bum. From this position, we're lifting the lower leg, and then we're tapping toes, tapping knees, drawing that arc in the air. Good. Keeping those hips stacked, tap, tap, drawing that arc in the air. Squeezing the glutes as you do so. Nice. Let's go. 9. 8. Pick that knee up. 7. Squeeze the glutes. 6. Amazing. Relax that neck. For 5. 4. Nice tight core. 3. You're doing great. 2. And 1. Nicely done. Now keeping that lower leg lifted, we're now tapping and extending on the diagonal. Tap, extend, tap, extend. Breathe out to lengthen. Engage the core as you kick out. Give it a lot of energy. Good. Really push out, lengthen out through those toes, point hard through the toes. Make each repetition count. For 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now from here, we are extending, tapping leg down, lifting and tapping. Good. Extend, lower, lift and tap. Extend, lower, lift and tap. Good work. Keeping the torso still and stable by engaging the core. Nicely done. Let's go for 5 more. For 5. And lift. And 4. And lift it up. For 3. Stick with it. And 2. And last 1. Extend and hold. Hold, hold, hold. Lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. And pulse. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Ooh, relax it down. That was super challenging. Okay, from here we're making that bridge either in front of or behind the lower leg. We're flexing the foot, turning the toes down toward the mat, and pulsing. Lift, squeeze, or rather lifting, squeeze and lift. Not lowering the foot all the way down to the mat. For 5, lengthen through that heel. 4, keep the toes turning down. 3, relax those shoulders. 2, and final 1. Now point the toe and lead up with that inner thigh. 8, squeeze to lift. 7, keep the leg hovering. 6, 5, 4, abs in. 3, 2, and 1. Amazing. Great. Now from here we're doing those 3 pulses up. So we're lift, lift, lifting and lowering. Lift, lift, lift a little higher and lower. 1, 2, 3, lower down. Lift, 2, 3, strengthening those inner thighs. 1, 2, 3, you've got this. Work the waistline at the same time. Engage your core. Good. Last 3 sets. Last 2 sets. Lift. And last set. Lift to the top and hold. Pulse for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Keep with it. 2 and 1. And relax it down. Nicely done. Now to really make sure that we targeted those inner thighs effectively and really burn them out, we're going to do a move from our forearm position. So we're coming down on those forearms. The elbows are below the shoulders. We're trying to avoid any slumping in the spine. We're pushing the mat away. From here, I'd like you to extend your legs long and turn your toes out so your heels are turned inward. Lift your right leg, lift your left leg, cross right leg over left, and then left leg over right. Keeping those heels turned in, pointing through the toes, squeezing the thighs. You're working your abs here too, so core needs to be tight and engaged. Chest is open. Keep pushing up through those elbows. Good. Can we pick up the pace? Little scissor crosses, little zigzag crosses. Good, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Keep those legs elevated, keep those thighs, calves switched on. Good, abs working for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Relax the legs down. Nicely done. You can shake out the legs a little bit, releasing tension, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Okay, from here we're gonna get into an all fours position so we can start targeting the gluteus maximus and the hamstrings. So we're going to position the wrists so they're below the shoulders, nice broad shoulders. Knees are below the hips. I'm gonna start off on this right side. So I'm gonna extend the right leg out nice and long. Plug the navel in toward the spine and lengthen through right toes. Hips are square with the mat. I'm gonna pick that top leg up, cross over bent leg, tapping toe to the mat, and then lift up and over to the opposite corner of the mat. So tap to one corner of the mat, tap to the other corner of the mat. Good, squeezing the bum at the top of every lift, keeping the torso really still and stable, keeping the core engaged. Good work. Crossing over with control. Let's go 5. Squeeze the bum to lift. 4. Working that gluteus maximus. 3. Amazing stability. Keep those shoulders nice and broad. For 2. And final 1. And bring the leg to center. Nicely done. Now from here, we're going to slightly flex the foot. We're going to lower the knee and lift into a donkey kick. Lower and lift. Lower, keeping a slight bend in the knee and lift. Good. Squeezing that bum with every lift. Good. Let's go 5. Keeping the hips square with the mat and the core engaged. 3 and 2. And final 1, nice, straighten the leg. Now from here, we're gonna cross it over the bent leg and then come up on a diagonal. So tap the toe down and come up on a diagonal. So we want to be drawing a diagonal line in the air in an upwards direction. Squeezing that bum particularly at the top of that line. Good, working the bum from all angles. Let's go 4 and 3. Nice, still stable torso. For 2, keep lengthening through the neck. And last 1, nicely done. Lower the knee down. Come down onto those forearms. Give your wrists a little bit of a rest. Make sure that your tailbone is tucked so your spine is nice and long. We're going to flex the right foot and extend out long. Now from here, we're bending and extending, hamstring curls. Bending and extending. Bending and extending. Really contracting that hamstring every time you pull the heel back to the bum. Keep the neck long, keep the shoulders down away from the ears. Make it really powerful. Full extension and flex that hamstring as you pull back. For 2 and final 1. Now we're bending to a right angle with that leg, keeping the foot flexed and pulsing heel up toward the ceiling. Pulse. Squeeze the bum, slow pulses. You got this. Keep that leg elevated for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Extend the leg out long, 10 pulses with a lengthened leg, but flexed for 10, 9, 8, 7. Tighten the core. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lower leg. Whew, those burned. Stretch back into a well-deserved child's pose, breathing in through the nose and slowly out through the mouth. Nicely done. Let's come over and do the other side. So I'm going to set myself up on my palms, wrists below the shoulders, knees below the hips. Spine is nice and long, core is tight. We're going to extend the right leg out long, the left leg out long, tap, and then cross over to tap to the opposite edge of the mat. Good. tap, and come up and over. Squeeze the bum. Really focus on your torso stability here. So you don't want your tailbone sort of swaying from side to side or your torso swaying from side to side. You want to be isolating this work in the glutes and the thighs. Good. Let's go 4. And 3. Nice work. For 2. Stay strong. And final 1. And come to center. Flex and bend. Lift, donkey kick. Maintaining that bending in the knee, that bend in the knee as you push that heel back. Let's go 5, 4, 3, squeeze the bum, 2, and 1. Extend the leg out long. Tap the toe down over a cross leg and then come up on a diagonal. Drawing that diagonal line down and upwards with that big toe. Relax the shoulders, lengthen through the neck. Good, tighten through the core. Let's go 5 and 4, 3, maintaining stability, 2, work those glutes, and 1, nicely done. Let's lower down onto those forearms. Lift the leg up, flex the foot, and pull heel to bum. Hamstring curls. Lengthen through the neck. Flex through that heel, and tighten the hamstring every time you pull the heel back toward the bum. Good, strengthening and toning your hamstrings does a lot for your bum. It really helps to lift and shape it. Good. And last one, we'll hold it here with the bent leg at a right angle and pulse, slow pulses. Whew, I'm shaking now. Last 5, stick with it. 4, 3, keep that leg elevated. 2, and 1, whew, struggling. Last 10 pulses, nearly there. 10, straight leg, leading up with that heel. 6, 5, you've got this. 4, keep the neck long. 3, tight core. 2, and 1. Ooh, amazing work. Lower down and stretch it out. Breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. We're going to remove our ankle weights and then we're going to move into puppy pose before we come up to our standing position. So, taking those knees nice and wide, walking the hands out in front of you, but keeping the hips elevated. We're going to sink down into that stretch. Breathing deeply in through the nose and out through the mouth. Lengthening through that spine, regulating the breath, stretching the hips for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, from here we're going to move into our standing weight work. I'm using my 5-pound hand weights. As mentioned, if you're doing this workout for the second time as part of my 3-week challenge, you might want a heavier set of weights. If not, you can go lighter, you can use no weights at all. It's entirely up to you. So we're going to start off with some deadlifts. So I'm going to turn and face the side of my mat, the end of my mat. I'm going to really focus on that posture. Feet are parallel, hip distance apart, maybe a little bit wider than hip distance apart if that feels more comfortable for you, about shoulder distance apart. We want the weight evenly distributed in the feet, and we're really going to focus on a flat back for this exercise to do it with good form. So gentle bend in the knees. I'm going to hinge from the hips, keeping the back nice and flat, lowering the weight, and then driving up through the heels to lift. So nice flat back, lower the weight in front of those shins and lift. You can bend the knees as much as you need to. And I want you to really focus on the glutes here. So focus on driving up, squeezing the glutes the whole way up. Lowering shins, weights are close to the shins, and then lifting, pushing up through those heels. Good, really tightening the core as you do so. Good, lower and drive up through those heels. Nice flat back. Put the tension in the glutes the whole way up. So really squeezing that booty, making every repetition count. Let's do one more. And now we're going to move into a single leg deadlift. So we're gonna step the right foot forward, back heel, left heel is lifted up off the mat. We're gonna do the same movement again, but this time most of the weight is in that front foot, that right foot. So again, hinging from the hips, bending the knees, coming forward, flat back, and then driving up through that right heel, squeezing right glute. Lower and lift. Lower, squeeze the bum to lift. Good work. And 5. Drive up through that heel. Let's go 4. And 3. Really stick that bum out behind you for 2. All the weight in that front heel. And last 1. Nicely done. Now I'm going to bring the left foot forward, step the right foot back. We're keeping the feet parallel here, lifting right heel up off the floor, knees bent, back flat, hinging from the hip, lowering, keeping the weights close to the leg, and then lifting. Lower and drive up through that left heel. Lower and lift. Good. Amazing work. And 5. Pull your navel in. It'll help to protect your low back, and it'll help with your form for 4. And 3, really focusing on the left gluteus maximus. 2. And final 1. Now we're gonna repeat that sequence. I'm gonna switch in the other direction, just because. So I'm starting off with those deadlifts. Shoulders are down away from the ears, back's nice and flat, core is engaged. Legs are about shoulder distance apart, lowering that weight and then driving up through those heels. Lowering the weight in front of the shins and pushing up. Good, lower. And squeeze the bum to lift. So we were just down on the mat doing lots of glute activation exercises, so you should really be feeling it in the bum now. Lowering and squeezing to lift. Lower down and lift it up. Good work. Lowering and lifting. Let's go 3 and 2 and final 1. Nice work. Now stepping that right foot forward again. Back heel lifts up off the mat, hinging from the hip. All the weight is in that front foot, lowering and lifting. Inhale and exhale to tighten the core. Lower down and lift it up for 4, 5, good, 6, driving up through that heel. 7, you've got this. And 10, amazing work. Okay, stepping that left foot back, stepping that right foot back behind you, lifting heel up off the mat. Shoulders are down and relaxed, weight is in that left heel, lowering and pushing up. Lowering and lifting. Inhale and exhale. Good. Really focusing on those left glutes. Halfway there, 5 more to go. For 5 and 4, belly to spine. 3, last 2, work those glutes. And final 1, amazing. Now we're going to move into some regular squats. We're gonna take our feet about shoulder distance apart. I'm gonna hold both weights at my chest. Shoulders are down. You can lower down into your squat. We wanna keep the torso upright and then lift up, driving through the heels. Lower and lift. Lower and lift. Squeeze the glutes to lift. Lower and lift. Lowering that tailbone down toward the floor and then pushing up. Really sending that bum out behind you. Good. Inhale and exhale for 4 and 3. Drive up through those heels. 2, abs in, and final 1. Amazing. Now we're gonna go into a lunge. So we're going to step the right foot forward, step the left foot back, left heel lifts. Now from here, weights are down by the side, and we're gonna lower and lift. Lower, keeping the torso upright or slightly hinging forward, whatever helps you to feel it more in those glutes. Good. Nice work, driving up through that heel. Let's take another 5. Last 3, weight in that front heel. 2, and final 1. Amazing. Now stepping that left foot forward, stepping the right foot back. Torso is upright, chest is nice and open. We're straight up and down with that torso, or we're slightly hinged forward. We want that weight in that front heel. Good, focusing on those glutes. Let's go 5 more. Tighten the core, drive up. Last 3, and 2, and 1. So normally I do these exercises with heavier weights, but it's amazing how challenging you can make it for yourself when you're really focusing on glute engagement. Okay, so we're going back to those regular squats. Our feet are about shoulder distance apart, chest is open. We're lowering and lifting, lowering and lifting. Inhale to lower, exhale to lift. Good, lower down and push up. Lower it down and drive up through the heels. Good. Try not to let the knees knock in. Keep that posture nice and tall. We don't want to be rounding those shoulders forward for 4, 3, get a little lower if you can, for 2, and final 1. Nicely done. Now back to those lunges. Right foot comes forward, left foot steps back. Weight in that front heel, torso upright or hinged slightly forward. Good. Oop, find that balance. Good. Pushing up through the heel. Let's go 5 and 4. Lower and squeeze the glute to lift. For 3 and 2 and 1. Amazing. Step the right foot back. Nice open chest, nice flat back. Lifting and lowering. Really focusing on those left glutes. Get low and then drive up through the heel for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Amazing work. I'm gonna just drop my weights off for a moment. Let's just take a little breather before we move into our next set of exercises. Swing out the arms, step out the feet, whatever feels good. Regulating the breath, breathing deeply in through the nose and out through the mouth. Great. Okay. Taking a hold of those weights again, we're now going to go into some wide squats. So taking the feet nice and wide, turning the toes slightly out. We're going to lower and squeeze thighs to lift. Torso is completely upright for this. Work that upper body posture as you work the lower body muscles. Nice tight core. Good. Elongated spine, dropping that tailbone down toward the mat, and then squeezing thighs to lift. Let's go 4, 3, really widen those knees, 2, and 1. Now from here, we're gonna go into a side lunge over to the right. So we're sending the right hip back behind us and then lifting up. For 9, drive up through right heel. 8, keep the posture upright. 7, really focus on that right glute as you lift. For 5, 4, get low, stick that bum out behind you. 3, keep that breath in control. 2, and final 1. Now over to the left. Send that left hip back and drive up through left heel. For 8, 7, make it powerful. Really push up for 6, 5, 4, amazing work. 3, keep those shoulders down away from your ears. 2, and 1. Relax for a moment. Take a couple of deep breaths before we repeat that set. Breathing in through the nose and slowly out through the mouth. Good. Weight comes back by the chest. We're lowering and lifting into that nice wide squat. Good. Squeeze the thighs, squeeze the glutes. This is our final set of standing exercises, so make each movement count. Good. Get low, squeeze to lift. Inhale, tighten the core to lift. Good. For 4, 3, 2, you're doing great. Last 1. Okay, taking it over to that right side, sticking your right hip back behind you and pushing up through right heel. Getting nice and low and lifting. For 4, 5, 6, 7, get a little lower. 8, stick that bum out behind you. 9, and 10, amazing work. Last set over to the left. Make sure those shoulders are down, chest is open. Stick your bum cheek back behind you, hip back behind you, and push up, focusing on those left glutes. Good, working the glutes from every angle in today's workout, getting that lift, shape, and definition. Let's go 6, 7, 8, 9, get really low, and 10. Amazing. So good. Okay, now we're going to come down onto the mat. So I'm going to come to the end of the mat, lift the arms up, find length through the spine, sweep the arms down toward the mat, bend in the knees, walk forward into a high plank, and then pike the hips up, coming into a downward dog. Stretch and lengthen. Let's just pedal out the heels here. Regulate the breath, let the head hang heavy between your shoulders. Nice flat upper back, gaze is on the shins. For 3, 2, and 1. Soften knees down to the floor. Great work. Okay, from here we're gonna go into some bridge work. And I'm gonna be using the weights for my bridge You don't have to use weights. You can do this weightless and you'll still feel the work. If at any point you're doing any bridge exercises with weights on your hips and your low back feels like it's straining, please get rid of the weights. I have hurt my low back before by pushing it in bridge and it is not fun. So remember, weightless is better than getting hurt. Okay. What we want to do to begin with is make sure that we're set up with really good form. So I'm going to do the first couple of reps weightless. I've got my head, neck, and shoulders down on the mat. My feet are hip distance apart, and I want my heels positioned so that they're below my knees. We want our feet parallel here. Now from this position, when we're coming into bridge, we start off by tucking the tailbone, flattening the low back to the mat. The arms are down by the sides, and then we start to peel the lower back up off the mat, the mid back up off the mat, and then we lift. Not so that we're arching the spine and pushing the hips too far forward, too far up toward the ceiling. We want to just make sure that we're creating a nice flat diagonal surface here. So the core is engaged, the tailbone is tucked. From this position, we're going to lower and lift. Lower, just hover the bum off the floor, keep the tailbone tucked, and lift, squeezing the back body. Lower and lift, lower and lift. Inhale to lower, exhale to squeeze the bum and lift. Remember, not overextending or overarching the spine. Good. We've got 3 and 2. Drive up through those heels. And final 1. Now, if you want to pick up your weights, you can place them on your hips. You can use one weight, you can use both weights, or no weights. And then starting from that tucked tailbone, flat back position, we're going to move into the same movement again. So lowering and lifting, keeping everything really tight, imagining a corset around your waist, and just really working into the back body as we lift those hips. Good. Let's go 6, 7, 8. Breathe out to lift, tighten that core. And 10. Hold at the top of the lift. Now from here, we're going to widen the knees, abduct them, and then bring them back to parallel. Widen and back to parallel, keeping that tailbone tucked. Good. Amazing work. My glutes and thighs are shaking from all the work that we've been doing. This bridge work feels more challenging than normal. Stick with it. We've got 3 and 2 and 1. Nicely done. Lower for a moment. And we're going to come up for a final 20 micro pulses. So tuck that tailbone, lift those hips, nice form. Make sure you're stable, and then pulse. 8, 7, 6, squeeze the booty. 4, 3, 2, 1, and pause. Make sure your core is engaged, tailbone's tucked for the final 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Keep those hips elevated. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lower, relax it down. Take your weights off to the side. And let's move right into a deep glute stretch. So we're going to cross the right leg over the left, interlace the fingers, take them behind the left thigh. Relax your shoulders, press your lower back into the floor, and breathe. Breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Hug that knee in a little bit closer towards your chest, keeping that tailbone connected with the floor as you stretch the lumbar spine, the hips, and the glutes. For 3, 2, and 1. Release. Cross your left leg over your right. Interlace your fingers. Take them behind that right thigh and hug it in close. Keeping your low back in contact with the floor if you can. Feeling that stretch into the glutes. Keep the shoulders relaxed, relax the face, the neck. Hug that knee in a little bit closer and towards your chest if you can to deepen the stretch. Let's go 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Take your hands behind your thighs, roll yourself up, And we're going to move into a back body stretch. So I'd like you to lift your arms up overhead and fall forward, taking a hold of your calves, your ankles, or your feet if you have the flexibility to do so. Keeping those legs as straight as possible. If you want to feel the stretch more deeply into the calves as well, flex the feet. Relax your head and feel that stretch running all the way up the backs of your legs, all the way through your spine. Take a nice deep inhale in through the nose, and as you exhale, I want you to pull your belly button in towards your spine, creating even more space for you to fold more deeply into your stretch, bringing your chest closer to your legs. For 4, 3, 2, and 1. Ripple up through the spine. From here, I'm going to cross my legs and come forward. I'm going to step the right foot between the hands, stretching the left leg back behind, coming into a hip flexor stretch. Sinking into that stretch, gently pushing the left hip forward, reaching up with right hand and folding over if that feels good. Otherwise, you can keep your hands on your thighs for stability and just focus on stretching into that hip area. If your arm is up, you should feel it in the side body as well. It feels really good. And lowering down, taking the right knee down, taking the left foot forward. Gently pushing that right hip forward. Breathing deeply in through the nose and out through the mouth. You've done so well in today's workout. You should really feel proud of yourself. Take your arm up if you'd like to do so. And accomplished. Ooh, my body is shaking. We worked really hard today. Okay, reach a bit further and then release. Bring your knees down, step your feet out, fold right leg under the body, coming into pigeon pose. Now option, if you want to deepen the stretch and feel it in your quad as well, you're going to pick up that back foot and gently draw the heel toward the bum. If that's too challenging or it feels painful, or it doesn't feel quite right, don't do it. Just hold in your pigeon pose. Let's go. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release. Step back and then fold the left leg under the body. Stretch out nice and long. Lengthen through the spine. Relax your shoulders. Good. And then if you would like to, pick that foot up and pull the heel gently toward the bum. Feeling that stretch in the quad and into the hip. Pull it back a little bit more if that feels comfortable for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Gently release. Turn to face me. We're going to finish off with a butterfly stretch. So bring the soles of the feet together, sitting up really nice and tall. Stacking the vertebra one on top of the other. You can either hold it here or you can hinge slightly forward. You can keep your hands on your feet or ankles, or you can move them to your knees, gently encouraging your knees closer down toward the mat to deepen the stretch. Holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Cross your legs. Lift your shoulders up by your ears. Inhale and exhale, roll them down and back. Let's melt away tension in those shoulders. Last 2, opening through the chest. And final 1, Amazing work. Thank you so much for joining me for that routine. As I said, you should feel proud of yourself. You worked really hard. You've done great things for your body, and I look very much forward to moving again with you soon. Bye.